In this example, we're going to go ahead and solve this trigonometric equation, and the values for x that we're going to find will be in the interval 0 to 2 pi. So it looks like we are going to use two identities for cosine, the sum identity and the difference identity, both here. So we have the sum and the difference. So let's go ahead and first find these values of a and b that we're going to use, and then we'll go ahead and use these expansions and see what we have. So the cosine of a plus b. So here we have two values that we're adding. So we'll call the x our a and this pi over 6 our b. And similarly, we're subtracting these two, so we'll call this x our a and the pi over 6 our b. And we're going to be really careful because we're subtracting here, but you'll notice both of these expansions have two terms, and they have their own signs in the middle. So we're just going to be really careful of that. Okay, so let's start with this sum identity. So that's this first one right here. So we're going to have the cosine of a, which is x, times the cosine of b, which is pi over 6, minus the sine of a, which is x, times the sine of pi over 6. Okay, so that's that first little bit. And then we have this minus sign here. So since I know I'm going to have two terms here, I'm definitely going to put those in parentheses because I'm going to need to distribute that negative through, and I don't want to mess my signs up. Okay, so here we're doing the difference, so right here, so the cosine of a, which of course is that x again, times the cosine of pi over 6, plus, in this case, the sine of x times the sine of pi over 6. Close those parentheses up, and that equals that -1 from the right side of the equation. Okay. So let's go ahead and distribute that negative sign. So we have the cosine of x, and let's go ahead and find values for these while we're at it. Okay. So the cosine, let's see, pi over 6. Well, pi over 6 is, what, 30 degrees? So the cosine of 30 degrees is going to be the square root of 3 over 2 minus the sine of x times. Now the sine of pi over 6, which is 30 degrees, is 1/2. Okay, so minus, now we have this cosine x times the square root of 3 over 2. And we have this plus right here, but we're distributing the negative, so it becomes a minus. The sine of x times, and then 1/2 again. And then all of that equals that -1. Well, you'll notice some interesting things here right off the bat. We have a lot of commonalities in these terms. So here we have cosine x times square root of 3 over 2, and here we have cosine x times the square root of 3 over 2. This one's positive, this one's negative, so they cancel out. Okay, that's pretty nice. So what's left is this guy and this guy, which once again are exactly the same. So if we have 2, we're just going to say minus 2 times sine x times 1/2, and that equals -1, which is nice because this 2 and the 1/2 cancel. So we have the opposite of sine of x equals -1. So a quick division by -1 tells us that the sine of x equals +1. Okay. So where does the sine function equal +1? And we are focusing our search to 0 to 2 pi. Well, I know that sine is going to be 1 at 90 degrees, but that's in degrees and not radians. So 90 degrees is going to be pi over 2. Okay? So that means that's the solution then for this equation. So we know that, again, sine of x equals 1 at 90 degrees, which is pi over 2. And pi over 2 is indeed within this interval of 0 to 2 pi. So we're saying then, if we take pi over 2, and we add pi over 6, and then take the cosine of it, and then we take pi over 2 and subtract pi over 6, and then take the cosine of it, and we subtract those two cosine values, we will get -1. So I would encourage you to go ahead and plug that in to ensure that you get it. But I'm here to say it's okay. You'll get it. It'll be good. So in this trig equation, The answer is x equals pi over 2.